through the sumac and the settling grass. A narrow trail let the daylight pass. Firelight flickered on the fallen pine. Smoke rose up in a wavering line. Dust on the cuff and the heel of the boot. Stone held heat at the cedar root. Far hills softened and lost their frame, like old home movies without a name.
There was a shed with a rusted latch, cornbread cooling beside the match, screen door talking in a crooked swing, mothers in kitchens and doves on the string.
Time went by like a wheel in mud, slow through the field and the alder brush. Now every road where the fence posts lean pulls at a life that was almost seen. Out where the last light thins to smoke, doubt comes close, but it does not show. Something quiet in the open air keeps its place, and it keeps me there. So let the fire burn down to thread, let the dark lay soft overhead. If I'm small in the sweep of the night, why does the ground still hold me right? Something plain, something deep, something true moves in the hush when the world goes blue. No loud answer, no blinding sign, just the trees and the patient time. Maybe faith is a borrowed spark, warm in the hand when the hills go dark. Let the fire burn down to thread, let the dark lay soft overhead. Something plain, something deep, something true moves in the hush when the world goes blue. By the trail where the tall pines part, they burn low like a leaden heart. Smoke went up through the settling trees, slow as a hymn on an easy breeze. Dust held fast to the healing soul, light ran thin on the ridges, rose somewhere far through the fields and stone. Evening spoke in a voice like home. There was a yard and a hand-dug well, screen door knock and a dinner bell, shirts on the line in the amber sun, barefoot kids when the chores were done. Years moved on like a creek in spring, taking shine from the smaller things. Now every road through the grass and pine feels like time with a different spine. out where the last light leaves the hill. Doubt sits down and the air goes still. Nothing answers the way I planned. Still there's peace in the breathing land. So let the fire burn low tonight. Let it throw its patient light. If I'm small in the open plain, why does the earth still know my name? Something quiet, steady and true keeps breaking through where the smoke grows blue. No grand sign and no sudden flame, just the dark and a softer name. Maybe faith is a path half shown, wide enough to walk alone. Let the fire burn low tonight. Let it throw its patient light. Something quiet, steady and true keeps breaking through where the smoke grows blue.
There's a worn-out trail behind the county line, threading through the oak and trembling pine, where the daylight thins to amber in the leaves, and the dust hangs low like something that believes. Boots' heels press a memory in the clay, like a name the years have almost worn away. Far off crows drift black across the hill, and the world gets wide enough to listen still. Back at home, the porch would creak at dusk, screen door singing with its iron rust. Jar of matches, cedar smoke and supper air, bare feet running through the weeds without a care. Now the fields lean gold beneath the fading light, and every mile turns softer by the night. Some truths settle slow as ash on stone, some don't speak at all but stay their own. So the fire burns low beside my knees, and the dark moves gently through the trees. What was lost and what was left behind meet somewhere between the stars and mine. Let the hillside hold the weight tonight. Let the distance take what needs the light. Let the quiet work beneath the skin, like a creek that wears the old rock thin. There are answers rustling out of slowing light. Maybe faith is just a steadier flame, not a shouted word, but a spoken name. Doubt's no thief with a heavy hand, just a shadow crossing over land. Let the hillside hold the weight tonight. Let the quiet work beneath the skin. There are answers rustling out of sight, in the grass, in the smoke, in the slowing light.
I'll be on the pasture's crooked wire, where the shadows climb and the weeds grow higher. There's a narrow track through the sumac shade, to a ring of stones where the fire once stayed. Smoke went up through the tallest trees, slow and straight in the evening breeze. Back when home was a lantern glow, and a voice through the screen door, soft and low. Now the hills hold still while the years move on, like a line half heard in an old field song. And the gravel road by the river bend keeps a kind of hush, like it knows the end. Their names worn down like the creekside shale. There are truths that fade and the ones that fail, but the grass still leans when the light slips through, like the earth remembers what the heart once knew. So I wait while the daylight thins, and the dark walks in through the cedar limbs, till the silence lays its hand on mine. Maybe faith is the glow that the coals still keep after the fire burns down and the pines grow deep. Maybe doubt is the smoke that curls and strays, but the warmth stays on when it leaves that way. And though I am small in the swallowing blue, there's a ground underfoot that will carry me through. Ooh, ooh. No bright answer came from the ridge or plain, just the locust hum and the grass again, a deeper peace in the dusk's refrain. Maybe faith is the glow that the coals still keep after the fire burns down and the pines grow deep. And though I am small in the swallowing blue, there's a ground underfoot that will carry me through.
down the cut-through path by the willow bend, where the weeds climb up through the broken fence. Evening leaned low on the rusted wire, and the creek ran dark like a buried choir. From the hilltop grass came a far-off breeze, shaking loose old names from the sycamore trees. Some things fade clean, some things stay, like dirt in the cups at the end of the day. There was ash in the pit where the fire had been, little rings of black in the cedar skin, and the smoke moved up in a lazy thread, like a thought half spoke and a prayer half said. Back when home was a porch light through the leaves, and the world felt small as a shirt sleeve dream. Now the road runs out where the tall fields part, and the dark makes room for a doubting heart. Maybe faith is thin as a cricket song, still it carries the quiet along. Maybe truth don't shine, maybe truth just stays, like a stone in the grass through the summer haze. So I go where the slow pines sway, with the dusk laid gold on the clay, and the years fall back in a soft refrain, like smoke unspooling across the plain. If I'm small, let me still belong to the field, to the fire, the evening song. No clear sign in the lowering light, just a worn footpath going out of sight, and a hush so deep in the earth below, it felt like something a soul could know. So I go where the slow pines sway, with the dusk laid gold on the clay, and the years fall back in a soft refrain, like smoke unspooling across the plain.
Down where the wagon had split the grass, evening gathered and let me pass. Smoke from the kindling climbed the trees, slow as a thought on a settling breeze. Boot leather pressed in the reddish clay, crows went quiet close of day. Far hills folded their backs in blue, like they were hiding what childhood knew. There was a porch with a slanted rail, stays in mind. Nothing answers in words I know. Still something steadies the heart below. So I walk till the fire burns down to cold, till the dark lays a hand on the open road. If I'm only a breath in a sky so wide, why does the earth keep me close inside? Something holy and plain runs under it all, like a low creek song or a whippoorwill call. Just a borrowed hush in the cedar rain. Maybe faith is a path gone dim, still warm with the ones who once walked in. So I walk till the fire burns down to cold, till the dark lays a hand on the open road. Something holy and plain under it all, like a low creek song or a whippoorwill call.
Down the footpath where the tall grass bends, evening leans on the fence like an old lost friend. Smoke from a small fire drifts through the pines, thin as a prayer that forgets its lines. Blackbirds settle where the wire runs low, dust on my boots and a steady slow road. Somewhere behind me the years go dim, like names in the bark where the light wears thin. There was a yard with a pump and a gate, a dog in the shade and a screen door late. Hands got older in the wash line sun, days kept moving though they felt half done. Now every trail has a voice of its own, stone after weathered stone. What do we keep when the fields all change? A spark, a sound, or a family name? Out where the ridge meets a falling light, small as a match in the breathing night. Something in me wants to trust the air, even with doubt still resting there. So let the dark come easy and slow, let the trees say what I don't yet know. There's a fire in the hush, there's a truth in the land. Not everything lost has slipped from my hands. If I am small in the wide unknown, the ground still answers when I walk home. big sermon in the cedar smoke, just a quiet line the evening spoke. The world stays wide and the heart stays shy, still the hills don't turn me by. Let the dark come easy and slow. Let the trees say what I don't yet know. If I am small in the wide unknown, the ground still answers when I'll go home.
There's a gravel turn beyond the cattle guard, where the weeds grow high and the ground grows hard, and a narrow trail slips under walnut shade, like a promise that the daylight never made. Evening settles down in a band of gold on the fence wire stone and the furrowed fold. Each step stirs up what the years let lie, dust and memory under the same white sky. Back behind the house was a crooked shed, tin roof singing when the storm clouds spread. Coffee on the stove, boots beside the door, and the screen would knock like a restless board. Now the miles move slow through the fields and beds, teaching lost the shape that a long road lends. Some names stay warm like a cold in rain, some drift off like smoke through the sycamore lane. So the fire burns low where the grass meets stone, and the dark makes room for the half-known. What was asked in youth, what was never named, still glows in the ash when the wood is tamed. Let the hillside take what I cannot keep. Let the tall pines talk in a tongue so deep. Let the night come down with its honest way, not too soon, not hard, just a little late. Maybe faith is small as a cabin spark, still it holds its ground in the breathing dark. Doubt still moves like a hound through brush, but the stars don't answer with any rush. They just hang there clear above the rim, while the fire burns down and the world grows dim. Let the hillside take what I cannot keep. Let the tall pines talk in a tongue so deep. Maybe faith is small as a cabin spark, still it holds its ground in the breathing dark.
At the edge of the clearing, the campfire swayed, throwing thin gold light where the shadows lay. Smoke rose slow through the leaning pine, like an old unsent prayer with no last line. Dust on the cuffs and the knees of my jeans. Grass bent down where the day had been. Far off hills held the sun a while, then gave it back to the dark with a tired smile.
There was a house with a hand-cut door, boots by the mat on the weathered floor. A kettle rang and the window hummed. Moths flew around when the evening came on.
Years went by like a creek through reeds, taking the noise, leaving what you need. Every trail through the stone and sun back feels like a road that is leading me back. Out where the last light breaks and thins, doubt speaks low, but it never wins. Something deep in the breathing land keeps its word without a hand. So let the fire burn down to a thread. Let the nightlight close overhead. If I'm small in the wide, wide blue, why does the ground still carry me through? Something holy, quiet and plain lives in the ash and the afterflame. Sign in the dark above, just a patient hush and a trace of love. Not the kind that asks to stay, more like light that shows the way. Let the fire burn down to a thread. Let the nightlight close overhead. Burn down to a thread. Let the nightlight close overhead. Something holy, quiet and plain lives in the ash and the afterflame.
On a narrow trail where the high grass sighs, day leans low in the hollow light. Smoke from the fire threads into the trees, moves like a thought on a gentle breeze. Boot marks fade in the copper dust. Pines stand still like they're keeping trust. Somewhere far where the rig lines lie, home comes back in the evening sky. There was an old back step and a squeaking screen, a garden row and a washing line clean. like a lowly flame that keeps leaning on. No clear map and no grand design, just a shadow path in a patient sky. Maybe truth is the humble spark that learns to glow when the woods grow dark. Find a fire, burn down to red. Let the dark lay soft overhead. Something stays when the day is gone, like a lowly flame that keeps leaning on.
Past the fence where the pasture dips, dust rolls off from my traveling steps. Pine stood still in the amber air, like old kind thoughts that were waiting there. A kettle sang on a bed of flame, smoke curled up and unspelled my name. Far hills held what the day let go, and the road ran on with a tall grass bough. There was a house with a leaning shed. June light lay through the boards and threads. Father came with the ache of stone. Mother hummed at the stove alone. Years moved through like a creek through clay, taking some, leaving marks to stay. Now each trail through the cedar shade feels like talk with the life I made. Out where the last light skims the pines, doubt goes quiet but never dies. Still there's peace in the breathing land, even when nothing is certain at hand. So I walk where the fire leaves go, through the grass and the rutted road. If I'm small in the sweep of things, why does the earth know the weight I bring? Something true in the silence stays, like a cold that lives through the change of days. No clear sign in the darkening blue, just the hush and the smoke going through. Maybe faith is a borrowed flame, held for a while then passed again. So I walk where the fire leaves grow, through the grass and the rutted road. Something true in the silent stage, like a cold that lives through the change of days.
Down the deer path past the leaning pines, evening laid its copper on the lines. Dust rose soft from the heel of every boot, like an old prayer finding back its root. Far off fields were smoke and tattered grey, and the blackbirds kept dissolving into clay. Somewhere in that hush the years went by, thin as cedar breathing in the sky. There was a porch with a screen that never stayed, a dog-eared map and the sound the summer made. Bare feet dark with the orchard and the loam, learning early that a road can sound like home. Now the ridge line holds the last of the sun, and every mile asks what the miles have done. Faith comes slow as a fire catching rain. Doubt moves in and out like passing green. So I sit where the tall grass meets the stone, not quite lost, not certain I'm alone. Something in the dark keeps breathing low, more than I can name, less than I can know. And the ground says stay a little while, let the silence walk you half a mile, let the night unbutton what you hide, let the sparks go drifting wild and wide. And there's a truth I never learned to shout, only waits in the open with your doubt. Fire burns down red and small and deep, hills keep watch the way old stories keep. If an answer comes, it won't be loud, just a patch of stars behind a cloud. And the ground says stay a little while, let the silence walk you half a mile. There's a truth that never learned to shout, only waits in the open with your doubt.
down the trail where the dry leaves lean, past the cut bent grass and the thistle green. There was a bend where the light fell slow on a ring of stones and a fire burned low. Smoke went up through the cedar spines, dusk held still in the crooked pines. Back when the dark fell soft and wide, and home was a sound from the other side. Now the road runs out by the pasture fence, through the quiet dust and the wild-grown scents, and the years go thin like a worn-out thread, through the things we meant and the words unsaid. Some old faith in me still walks that grave, with a creek-stone heart and a mind half-frayed, asking what of us ever stays when the fields turn gold and then give away. So I wait while the last light leaves and the hills breathe out through the sycamore trees, till the silence says what it came to say. There's a little smoke where the hard years rise, a little grace in the dimming sky, a little truth in the ground below, and the things we lose and the things we know. If the world is wide and I'm passing through, let me lean my way where the grass stays true. No bell rang out, no sign came near, just the fire gone low and the crickets clear, and a steady dark I could finally hear. There's a little smoke where the hard years rise, a little grace in the dimming sky. If the world is wide and I'm passing through, let me lean my way where the grass stays true.
By the bend where the old trail dips, evening dust on my hands and hips, firelight moved through the cedar bark, cold for a minute then back to dark. Smoke climbed up in a leaning line, thin as a hope with no clear sign. Far hills held what the daylight gave, soft and blue like a half-lit grave. There was a yard with a rusted swing, jars on the sill and a window screen. Someone called from the garden row, bare feet black with the earth below. Time went on like a wagon wheel, slow through the grass and the broken field. Now every road through the pines I take sounds like a house where the last light leaves the trees. Doubt comes back with the evening breeze. Still there's a peace in the settling ground, quiet enough to be almost found. So let the fire burn low, burn red. Let the night lay a hand on my head. If I am small in the open land, why does the silence still understand? Something stays when the years move on, like a low smoke trail after the flame is gone. No, no loud heaven and no bright sign, just the woods and the patient time. Maybe faith is the path worn through, still holding heat where the bare feet knew. Let the fire burn low, burn red. Let the night lay a hand on my head. Something stays when the years move on, like a low smoke trail after the flame is gone. The trail ran thin through the cedar shade, past the fence line post that the years unmade. Grass bent low where the old path turned. Dust rose soft where the daylight burned. Somewhere far a screen door swung, like a hymn half kept from a younger tongue. Evening settled slow in the pines overhead, and the ground fell near like the words unsaid. By small firing in a field of stone, smoke climbed up like a prayer unknown. Cricket stitched at the edge of sound, while the dark moved in without a crown. Names once carved in the cottonwood bark live the longest just before dark. Years go by, but the hills stay plain, holding loss like the earth holds rain. Maybe home is the mile between what was clear and what was seen. Maybe grace is a quiet road, carrying more than the heart can hold. So I walk where the tall grass sways, through the smoke of the borrowed days, with the past laid down in a pale gold line, and the wide world breathing beside mine. If there's truth, it moves this way, low and slow at the close of day. No big sign in the western light, frame, like the land still knows my name. So I walk where the tall grass sways through the smoke of the borrowed days, and the wide world breathing beside mine keeps a little of the lost in line.
Along the trail where the tall pines lean, firelight shakes through the branches green. Smoke lifts slow in a silver thread, like a quiet thought that won't be said. Dust clings soft to my boots and jeans. Day runs thin at the meadow seam. Far off hills take the falling sun, and the whole wide dark comes in one by one.
On the sill and a screen door spring, supper steam in the amber air, someone humming like a half-known prayer.
Years roll by like a wagon wheel, slow but sure through the grass and field. Now each road through the cedar bend like meeting what time never ends. Out where the last light leaves the stone, doubt stays near but it's not alone. Something deep in the breathing land tells my heart what it cannot stand. So let the fire burn steady and low. Let the night move in soft and slow. If I'm small in the wide unknown, why does the earth still feel like home? Something lost still calls my name. From the dust, from the dark, from the patient flame. No bright sun and no grand design, just the trees and the turning sky. Maybe faith is a quiet road, barely lit, but it leads me on. Let the fire burn steady and low. Let the night move in soft and slow. Something lost still calls my name. From the dust, from the dark, from the patient flame. Oh, oh, oh.
Evening gathers slow in a haze of gray. A crow cuts out through the tired air, like a thought half formed that was always there. Footprints fade in the dust behind, same as the shape of a younger mind. Pines lean in where the footpath bends, like they've known this road since the world began. There was a creek out back by the sycamore roots, mud on the cuffs and holes in the boots. A radio low on the kitchen chair, and the screen door beat in the summer air. Now the miles roll out through the fields and stone, teaching a man how to stand alone. Some things leave and they don't come back, some just turn to another track. So the fire burns down to a quieter goal, and the night gets wide where the earth unfolds. Every unanswered prayer I've known sounds less like fear out here alone. Let the dark say what it came to say, let it fall like ash at the end of day. Let the hills hold still while the heart walks through the doubt, through the smoke, through the borrowed blue. Maybe truth is a path that the feet make plain, step by step through the grass again. Faith's not always a church bell sound, sometimes it's just not turning round, just staying put where the fire burns low, till the quiet tells you what you know. Let the dark say what it came to say, let it fall like ash at the end of day. Maybe truth is a path that the feet make plain, step by step through the grass again.
Near the edge of the pines where the footpath fades, firelight flickers through the cedar shade. Smoke goes up in a slow straight line, like a worn out prayer with no clear sign. Gravel and grass under tired old boots. Night comes soft to the cottonwood roots. Somewhere beyond where the ridges bend, silence waits like a weathered friend. There was a porch with a loose board floor, dust in the hall by the kitchen door. A radio hum through the August heat, screen doors swinging with a steady beat. Years went by like a creek through clay, taking its fill then slipping away. Now every road through the fields I know feels like a place that refused to go. Out where the last light leaves the hill, dark draws near, like it has a use for every fear. So I sit with the fire till the fire burns low, watch the sparks lift up and let them go. If I'm small in the middle of the nameless why does peace come back when the daylight dies? Something true in the earth below keeps a steady time that my heart still knows. Just smoke in the trees and a borrowed peace. Maybe faith is a trail half shown, wide enough to walk alone. So I sit with the fire till the fire burns low, watch the sparks lift up and let them go. Something true the earth below keeps a steady time that my heart still knows.
By the tall grass edge where the footpaths fade, past the cedar posts and the rusted gate, there's a bend in the field where the fire burns low, and the dust comes in with a copper glow. Smoke climbs up through the leaning trees, night moves slow with the crickets' heat. Back when home was a simple sound, in a screen door swing and the settling ground. Now the hills wear out what the years can't hide, and the road runs thin by the mountainside. Every mile lets go of a name or face, like a creek-worn stone in a wider place. Some old questions rise when the day goes dim, why the light draws close and it leaves again, why the heart stays soft where the world turns hard, why the dark feels near but not too far. So I wait while the last birds cross, and the shadows lean through the meadow grass, till the stillness speaks in its quiet way. Maybe faith is a small fire holding on, after all of the bright loud hours are gone. Maybe doubt is the smoke that drifts and bends, but the flame stays warm when the daylight ends, and the night is wide and the stars are few. Still the ground keeps saying I'll carry you. bridge above. Just the trees gone still and the hush thereof, and the little peace in the ash and dust. Maybe faith is a small fire holding on after all of the bright loud hours are gone, and the night is white and the stars are few. Still the ground keeps saying, I'll carry you.
There's a narrow trail by the meadow fence where the tall weeds lean and the light goes dense. Past a ring of stones where we used to stay, while the fire held on at the edge of day. Smoke would climb through the patient pine, and the dark came slow like a spoken line. Back when home was a porch light through the trees, and the screen door hymn in the evening breeze. Now the road runs out by the grazing land, with a little more dust and a slower hand. And the years slip by like a creek cut scene, taking half of the names from the things we mean. There are nights out here when the hills go still, and the sky feels wide past the western hill. When the questions rise with the whippoorwill, why some hearts move on and some never will. So I wait where the fire throws amber light, and the grass bows down to the coming night, till the silence settles into shade. Maybe fate is the ember under ash, not a blinding sign, not a thunder crash, just a little red in the breathing black. Something small, but warm that keeps calling back, and the doubt moves through like a drifting shade. There's a steady flame that the dark can't take. Nothing answered playing from the cedar line, just the smoke on thin and the stars behind, and a deeper hush that felt almost kind. Maybe fate is the ember under ash, not a blinding sign, not a thunder crash, just a little red in the breathing black. Something small, but warm that keeps calling.